Okay, I think we're live. We'll record this in any case. So if it's not live, then we'll just put it on our pages. Okay. Welcome, Gerard from Green Door and me from Mogipino Estates. So we decided just to do a bit of a conversation between us to just inform you guys in the market where we are and what's currently happening in the market. So because we've got a few questions that we received from a few people and we would just like to clarify a few issues from our side. So Gerard, please just tell me who you are and where you're from.
Good morning, Amarai. Thank you for the opportunity, and good morning to everybody that will eventually get to see this. I'm the CEO of Green Door Home Loans. We were founded in 2005, and since then it's been operating as an independent mortgage originator. Now, a mortgage originator, just in short, is basically the middleman between the bank and the estate agent that's selling your property. We have the expertise and the know-how to apply on your behalf to the banks, how the process works, what we need to look at, and how to structure your loan in order to be successful with that. Most of our staff have a strong banking and a home loans background, and therefore we understand the business in terms of how to assess your home loan. Our value proposition is choice. Therefore, submitting your application to at least 7 financial institutions to negotiate the best possible deal for you, and therefore the best possible outcome with the banks.
Great. I've been doing business with Gerard and Marita for quite some time, and we have established a very well relationship over this time. So I would just like to give some feedback from our side as Mogipino Estates. We've been in the business for about, I think, 20 years myself, and we are very hyper local in the Muits area, and this is where we live, and this is where we've been selling for so many years, and we absolutely love this area and love the people that we work with on a daily basis. And that's why we have this presentation, just to make sure that we inform all our buyers and sellers, because that is what we would like to do, is just to be the knowledge broker and to give you education on some of the questions that you might have in this process and in this time. So that's us. So one of the questions that we have been receiving is, are we still selling and buying in this time of COVID? And yes, we as estate agents are selling. We from Mogipino Estates decided to take an innovative approach to this. We decided to do videos on all the properties that does not currently have videos on or had videos on before COVID. And we now do Zoom meetings or virtual walkthrough with the people. And if they decide that they like a certain property, we have a COVID clause that we put in all our transactions to make sure that all the parties are safe. Then my question to you, Gerard, is some of the questions, it looks like everyone is lying low for the past few weeks in terms of COVID, but are the banks and you guys at Green Door also lying low?
No, definitely not. This time lends itself to some opportunities, and you can't lay low in a time like this. You didn't need to square up to the situation. And that's why we as Green Door working closely with you, Amarai, and Mogipino Properties, purely because there's still opportunities, and therefore I can confirm that Green Door Home Loans is still open for business. We are submitting to the banks on a daily basis. There's still pipeline business originating from previous months that we are in conversation with the banks on a daily basis in order to get to a possible answer. And yes, the banks are definitely still operating, albeit on skeleton staff, and therefore the turnaround times are a bit slower, but that is to be expected in a time like this. but at least we are still operational. And I can just motivate from a bank's point of view is the interest rate dropped 2% in the last month. And the big plus for that is affordability, because there's two things that the banks will assess um, on looking at your application. And the one is your credit record, and the second one is affordability. Now, roughly on a 1 million rand home loan, based on rates of 6 months ago, um, that affordability on a 1 million rand bond approved by 8,000 rand. So that's quite substantial.
Yeah, that is substantial.
And it lends itself not only to new entries into the market, but also to investors to capitalize on potentially distressed selling.
Yes. And I think, yeah, we're doing all the contracts, and we're submitting to the banks, or submitting through you to Green Door to the banks. So everyone is still proceeding as if, but it does look like some people are lying low a bit. Okay. Then my second question to you is, let me just see here. What happened if I bought a property and I'm still in the process? So I made an offer to purchase and we did the whole bond application part. But now we are in the waiting game and it's at the attorneys. What is the processes with the bank? How will they look at these bonds post-COVID when all the lockdown is lifted and we're back to semi-normal or new normal?
Marai, unfortunately, it's true that the banks are entitled to reassess your pending home loan not registered yet. And it's not just during the COVID period. That is a general rule from a banking point of view. But obviously, the COVID had some adverse effects on employment and income and so forth. So, yes, you can expect that the banks might reassess your pending application, look at your credit record, look at your affordability. Therefore, it's paramount that you, as a homeowner or a homeowner in waiting, if I can call it that, do not, if possible, incur any additional debt, because that will be picked up by the banks in terms of your credit record. And if that has an impact on your affordability, then obviously the bank might decide to either lower your loan to value that they've granted initially, or they might even withdraw the application. The second thing is, all the banks are offering payment holidays on credit. Should you make use of this payment holiday, please record it sufficiently. Keep records, your conversations with the banks. You need to make sure that the banks are updating your credit record with the credit bureaus in order not to show that you're behind on payment, but that you are in fact on a payment holiday. And that's something that you are entitled to draw a credit record once a year. But if you need assistance with that, we can also assist you with your credit profile.
Yes, yeah. And I think that is one of the questions that we used to also get, in that we sometimes don't really approach, or we don't have a take on this when we've got it in a normal transaction part. But you have to look at, when you are busy with a bond or a home loan, not to incur any other debts from any credit providers, because sometimes the banks do then give you some kind of credit, and that's not advisable at all to take that credit.
Amarai, can I just revert back on the importance of pre-qualification, and this is now to do with clients who wants to purchase. I want to stress that pre-purchase qualification is an absolute must. We will base our findings on your most recent credit profile and your latest proof of income. We assess your pre-qualification on the same principles that a bank will apply on assessing your home loan. And this will enable you to know exactly what you could qualify for, or should there be any adverse aspects on your credit record, then we can address that prior to applying at the bank. Because once you've applied with your home loan at the bank and they discover any adverse aspects on your credibility or even on your affordability, that mostly becomes then a challenge in order to convince the bank otherwise. So please do make use of our pre-qualification. We are digital as far as a pre-qualification is concerned. So, and I'm sure Amarai will be able to assist you with that as well.
Yeah, Gerard, now that you've touched on that, I would like to just elaborate a bit on that. And that is something that we, estate agent-wise, bond originator-wise, discuss quite often when we do bond applications. And that is the part where when some people apply for their properties, they sometimes have extra loans that they are unaware of the fact that this will have a detrimental effect on them applying for their property and not getting the home loan as such. And those that we've discussed quite recently was the payday loans, and sometimes people don't honor their home or their installments, and this gives quite a bad effect or view of the client towards the bank, and then this makes the bank not want to give the client a bond.
Yes, that's indeed correct. So that's why I advise strongly that that we do a pre-qualification. You will be entitled to your credit profile that we are making use of to confirm all your expenses, your income, and also your credit record.
And also, if they've got any retail accounts, they should make sure that if they paid, they should pay it up to the cent to make sure that they're not seen as a late payer. So if they pay even a few cents miss, or if they pay a day later, they're seen as a not a good payer.
Well, that's why it's important for us to have access to your credit record, so we can discuss it with you. Should you be a couple of rand or whatever in arrears, the banks will allow you to bring that account up to date, and we provide proof of that. Then usually the banks are not too particular in terms of granting you the home loan.
Okay, good. Okay, then my last question to you is, during this COVID time, how are the banks helping their current clients?
Most banks, and I'm sure most of you have seen it on social media, most banks have released interactions to assist with your debt repayments. And so the advice would be, is should you want to make use of a payment holiday, or you are falling in arrears because of COVID income reasons or any other reason, is to contact your bank immediately. Don't wait and hope that they won't see it or that they will allow you to go in arrears. Look after your credit record. That's paramount. That's all you got in order to obtain credit. So contact your bank immediately. Make sure that they understand your financial situation. And the experience that I've got as far as from the bank side is that they don't want to see you sell your house under stress-related matters. They will do their utmost best to keep you on your home. So all they expect from you as a homeowner is to play open cards with them.
Yeah, and to keep them in the loop and not wait until it's too late to discuss any issues.
That's extremely important, Amora, you're correct.
Great. Thank you very much, Gerard, for your time. We really appreciate it. We will definitely do this again.
Great stuff. Thank you for the opportunity, Amora. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.